أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everybody to the very first session of our G2 course. You are all here because you are enrolled on the G2 course which starts today. And the program today will be an orientation session so that everybody gets introduced to our setup, our format, how we're going to operate, so that we can have some smooth lessons for the next 12 weeks. Okay, so let me start by calling a student to the mic for a tilawat. And if I can ask student N8364 to raise her hand, please. Student N8364, if you could possibly raise your hand. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay?
Alhamdulillah, yes, jazakumullah for asking. So, sweetheart, you are going to do an opening tilawat. If everyone could listen along, please. Okay, let's go.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen.
Amin. Mashallah, jazakumullah. So if you could stay on the mic, and if you could now go through the translation as well.
Okay. Translation. I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the rejected. In the name of Allah, the gracious, the merciful. All praise belongs to Allah alone, Lord of all the worlds. The gracious, the merciful, master of the day of judgment. Thee alone do we worship, and thee alone do we implore for help. Guide us in the straight path, the path of those on whom thou hast bestowed thy favours, those who have not incurred thy displeasure, and those who have not gone astray. Jazakallah.
Mashallah, jazakumullah, sweetheart. Thank you so much for such a lovely recitation. Okay. So if I can now pass the microphone over to our head teacher, who will spend a few moments giving us an opening address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam.
I feel greatly privileged and honored that by the grace of Allah, we are starting our 6th 12-week program for teaching our Atfal and Nasirat in, now it is starting today, 6th January 2020. Teaching or learning the Holy Quran in early stages is very, very important in Ahmadiyya society, especially. If we start the journey of a child who is born to the world, there is a collective responsibility of a family that the newborn should be named. And fortunately, most of that time, this is a practice that Khalifa of time, is requested to give the name or otherwise. But anyway, giving name is an important start of a newborn. And educating him or her or training him or her starts from the day one. At that time, the newborn has no idea what is going to be injected to his or her mind. But the first contact of a newborn is his or her mother. And the mother has been gifted by nature, by Allah the Exalted, such patience and care most of the time. That is the first teacher of a newborn is the mother. And we know that in the beginning, there is no response from a newborn, but the all mother's father and in the whole who comes to see that person, the newborn, everybody tries to speak to that newborn and extends smiling to the newborn. And at certain time, after some weeks, when the child begins to repay back the smiling, which is the language, which is considered the language of love, care, recognition, and appreciation, then that is a great moment for parents that their effort, they were teaching the newborn how to smile, how to react, how to give response back. They became very, very happy and pleased to see that moment. The person, the newborn, is now repaying back, or the training or the language which was being taught to that person is now his or her response coming back. So naturally, we come to this conclusion that there is a gradual process. First of all, parents speak a lot to the child, and they have to wait for a certain times, many weeks, many months, 8, 9, 10 months, according to different, and then to listen to the first word from the lips of their newborn child. And there is a message from the divine, from Allah the Almighty, that education or training is a long process. It demands patience, it demands a continuous effort, and after that the result will come. The result cannot come in the beginning as soon as the person is starting educating or training other person. It will be paid, but the patience, continuous effort, istiqlal is important. Now we know that when after certain time, some weeks or months, then gradually, from one word, 2 word, 3 words, and so, the vocabulary, the bank of words of that newborn is on increase. And at certain, after some time, it comes that a person, a newborn, a child, is able to speak meaningfully 2 words or 3 words or some words like that. So whatever is taught to that one. And in ambient society, it is required and it is requested and it is expected that a child should start his journey of learning the Holy Quran at least at the age of 4. As he goes to a school for an academy, a school for his secular education, his religious education, his community education, his faith education starts with the Holy Quran, and starting from the Arabic reading of the Holy Quran, starting from Alif, Ba, Ta, and recognition of dots, so and so. Now, with regards to when I said that the age of 4, this is expected and encouraged. so that when a person goes to secular education at the same time in the evening or early in the morning before going to school, whatever feasible to that age, he or she is given that facility to learn the words of Almighty Allah. Now, if we go to the history of Islam, or if we study the Quran and Hadith, as far as my knowledge is concerned, I did not find any particular age, that the age of starting of reading the Holy Quran or starting to learn the Holy Quran. There is not a specific age has been mentioned in the Quran or Hadith or early part of history of Islam. But one very famous quotation, which is an Arabic quotation, is that learning and memorizing in early age is like engraving something on the stone, is like inscribing on the stone, meaning that it cannot be taken out, it cannot be erased easily if it is done in the early age. It's like as you are writing on a stone if a person starts his or her journey as early as possible in life. We find in our homes, in our society, when those parents, when they offer their 5 daily prayers, so without saying anything, without inviting them, naturally children copy them and try to imitate them and try to do ruku or sajda, though the quality can never be, the like an adult is obvious, but they very sincerely, they try to copy it, go to sajda, go to, different stages of the prayers, they do that one. And in the same way, when our parents, Ahmadi parents, when they will recite the Holy Quran on daily basis, definitely in our society, our children will copy. Maybe they were unable to read properly, but they will definitely utter some voices or some sounds as they are reciting the Holy Quran, as they are imitating the voice of mom or dad of that surah which they are reciting at that time. Now we know that people are born with different capacities and abilities, and some children finish the first reading of the Holy Quran as early as possible, okay, earlier. Sometimes some people, children, they take time. But I think that if a continuous effort is made, at whatever age is that, 1 year is enough to complete, starting from recognition of dots to completion of the Holy Quran, min al jinnati wan nas. 1 year on daily basis, 1 year is enough, maybe 1.5 years, but 1 year is normal. Now, with the history of Ahmadiyya, I like to mention some hints we can derive and we can conclude that what was the progress of reading the Holy Quran in the blessed household of the promised Messiah, ﷺ. We know that the elder son of the promised Messiah, ﷺ, was Hazrat Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmad Sahib, who became second Khalifa in Ahmadiyya community and the promised son, promised reformer, Al-Muslim Maud. His first reading was completed in 1897. And his siblings or brothers and sisters were Bashir Ahmad Sahib. Hazrat Mirza Bashir Ahmad Sahib was the second son of the promised Messiah, ﷺ. And then the third son, Hazrat Mirza Sharif Ahmad Sahib, radiyallahu ta'ala anhum, and the daughter, Hazrat Mubaraka Begum Sahiba. Now, in Durismeen, which is a collection of the nazms, of the poems of the promised Messiah, ﷺ, we find that in 1901, the promised Messiah, ﷺ, wrote a poem in thankfulness to Almighty Allah for because his two sons and one daughter, they completed the first reading of the Holy Quran in 1901, and their one congregation was arranged there. There was a celebration, sense of celebration, because they have completed the first reading, and the promised Messiah والسلام, wrote a poem, which is, I just mentioned that. Now, I like to mention 4 couplets from that poem, and it gives us some indication that what was happening at that time in their age, and how happy and glad was the promised Messiah والسلام, on their achievement. It says, it is in Urdu, Ye choti umar, and Hazrat Masih Maud Wasalam basically talking about Hazrat Mirza Sharif Ahmad Sahib, who is the youngest son at that time, youngest son, Hazrat Mirza Sharif Ahmad Sahib, the great grandfather of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih al-Khamis, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasir al-Aziz. Grandfather, basically Hazrat Mirza Sharif Ahmad Sahib was the grandfather of Hazur Khalifa Khamis. So I say, Ye choti umar par jab azmaya, that look at the tender age of this person, Sharif Ahmad. Par jab azmaya, when I tested him, kalam-e haq ko hai far sunaya, that the Holy Quran, he recited the Holy Quran fluently. Kalam-e haq, that the word of the truth, the word of Allah the Almighty. This tender age, early age, but when I tested, he recited fluently. And next he said, Baras mein saat mein jab pair aaya. Baras mein saat mein jab pair aaya, when he just entered into the age of 7, or 7th year of his age, when he entered, meaning he was 6 and something, he just entered. Baras mein saatवें जब पैर आया, पैर means foot, तो सर पर ताज कुरान का सजाया, तो सर पर ताज कुरान का, the crown of completion of the Holy Quran was on his head. He was so, the completion of the Holy Quran, the first reading of the Holy Quran, and reading the Holy Quran fluently is like a crown of head. And he became, he basically, he was enriched, and his decorated, his whole being was embellished with that crown of the Holy Quran. And after that promised Messiah, after a couple of couplets after that, he says, और उनके साथ दी है एक दुख्तर, that I have been granted a daughter, दुख्तर, daughter. I have been granted a daughter, है कुछ कम 5 की वो नेक अख्तर, that she is less than 5 years old. She is fortunate, but नेक अख्तर, that she is less than 5 years old, very fortunate person, and she has completed the Holy Quran. So, is this point, it comes clear that definitely she may have started at the age of 4, and before completion of age 5, she was able to, and after that, Hazrat Masih Maud says, है कुछ काम 5 की वो नेक अख्तर, कलामुल्लाह को पढ़ती है फर. Kalamullah, word of Allah, she recites the Holy Quran fluently, and she is less than 5 years old. Khuda ka fazl or rahmat sarasar, the bounties and the grace and the blessings of Allah is continuous in this way, that my children have completed the reading of the Holy Quran. Now, it is good that our children should complete as early as possible, as far as they are able to read fluently and correctly. But one of the important factors is that we should inculcate or cultivate the love and devotion and affection in the minds, in the hearts of our children for the Holy Quran. I remember once when Hazrat Bibi Nasra Begum Sahiba, the mother of Huzur Anwar, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasir Aziz, passed away, and Huzur delivered a sermon, Friday sermon in her memory. And while he was speaking the noble qualities of his mother, he mentioned that once one lady came to her and said that my child has completed the reading of the Holy Quran at this tender age. And she was obviously proud. And Hazrat Bibi Sahiba, Hazrat Bibi Nasra Begum Sahiba said, okay, that is very good, but let me know that how much love have you instilled in, and inculcated or cultivated in the hearts of your child. Because first reading, second reading, but the love and affection will continue. And even if a person is not, parents are with Almighty Allah, after, everybody has to go, this love and affection will go with them for the whole life. So I'm very happy and pleased that by the grace of Allah, as I mentioned, that we are starting this course, Tashilul-Qur'an, which is basically, this is the 6th course. And this program started in 2017, March 2017. And one of the objectives to run this course was that there was some complaints that some of our Ahmadi children are being taught by non-Ahmadis. So in Ahmadiyya society, we are basically under the divine leadership of Khilafat-e-Ahmadiyya. We are the teachers of the Holy Quran. We have to teach them. We have to teach our children. We have to teach the world. So that is why it is paramount responsibility of parents, the first, that as they can teach and train their children many other things at their home, the first and foremost responsibility lies on the shoulder of the parents. They should teach their children first. Okay, meaning, or for any reason they are unable to teach their children, there could be obvious reason, then they can help, they can get help from the Jamaat, and Jamaat has provided this online portal, online platform. But at this time, your responsibility is that please make sure that they attend on time, and their behavior, their etiquettes, their learning dedication remains the same, meaning to the highest standard. And because our team, inshallah ta'ala, as the G2 in charge, will give you the outline of the program or the syllabus. But no one from our Ahmadi children should go to any other non-Ahmadi ustad at this stage. Okay, and we should be sufficient in this case, because now service of the Holy Quran, to serve the Holy Quran in different stages and different capacities and different levels, this is now the responsibility of Ahmadis. We have been given this, and we should be able to preach them, the others, to bring them to the fold of Islam, to train them, to teach them to the Holy Quran, and especially not only teach them the correct pronunciation of the Holy Quran, but also teach them the true meaning of the Holy Quran, and remove those misconceptions which are basically prevalent in the society, and the true picture of Islam and the Quran should be shown to the people. So at the end, I like to mention that this is a directive of our beloved Imam, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih al-Khamis, Ayyadullah Ta'ala bin Nasir Aziz, that every Ahmadi, be a child, male or female, or young and old should be able to recite the Holy Quran, at least two sections, two portions, two sections on daily basis with translation. Yes, it will be, depending if they are the early readers. We are not expecting such lines from them. So if everyone spends 10 to 15 minutes on the Holy Quran, that will be beneficial for them. That will be good atmosphere for their children. And in this case, there will be a Quranic environment at their home, at least for some time in that one. So I conclude with the prayer that may Allah enable our team, the online Quran teachers, all team, which are, inshallah, they will teach very dedicatedly, very patiently, and in a good manner, in regularly. And your time, your ambition and your contribution should be that our attendance should not be dropped. It is this time I can see that 71 computers are connected to that one, but after some time it dies down. It is a 5 days class, Monday to Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Please make sure that yes, we took 95 people on the board, but I think that if we exclude our teachers or our team, there should be at least 65. So it means that 35 students or 35 families whom the place were given, they for some reason they could not connect to the computer to this class. And in this way, those who were on the waiting list, that was not fair to them. But so we will see that for a couple of days more, maybe this full week. And if people do not turn up, those who are in the waiting list, they will be given chance to start this one. So Jazakumullah to all. And now I give mic back to G2 teacher, please.
Jazakumullah to our head teacher for a lovely introduction to our course. Yes, Alhamdulillah, the team is blessed for having our head teacher leading the team, who works very incredibly hard to set up this program. And the team just follow along in his footsteps to deliver what we can. If you can please remember us in your prayers that we do indeed fulfill our obligations. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is we've had experience in the past that as we start our course through the week, there's lots of things that parents and students encounter, some difficulties. They can't log on, they can't find the right ID. There's various different issues that crop up. And so if we're not careful, every day classes have many, many announcements and the teaching becomes impacted. So what we've decided to do is have an opening session where we try and lay out the format and give as much information as we can, so that it's all contained within this one class. And then hopefully, inshallah, parents and students can move smoothly on into the course. So I will just deliver a small presentation to give you an orientation as to what you're to expect. Okay. Okay, so if I can just ask my co-host, MT112, the screen is showing my PowerPoint?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, thank you, Jazakumullah. Okay then, so welcome everybody to this opening session of the G2 course. G2 is part of the Tashilul-Qur'an program, a range of courses designed to teach correct pronunciation of the Holy Quran. The whole program is offered by the National Talimul-Quran and Waqf-e-Arzi department. Now, some of you know the setup because you've attended previous courses, but others are new to G courses. So this opening session presentation is meant to bring everyone up to speed so that you all know what's being offered by us and know what is expected of you and your parents. There is an academy-style setup to our program. We have 3 courses that we offer. G1, which teaches Qaida, basically from scratch to the beginner. G2, which is this course. It's a new course that's starting in this spring term. And I'll explain a bit more about us in a few moments. And then there is another course, G3, which is a Hifz course, and selected portions of the Holy Quran are memorized in that course. The idea is that a beginner can start on G1 Qaida stage in September and reach an elementary level of reading by December. Then can progress onto the G2 course, this course in January, to practice reading what has been taught in G1 and reach a confident reading level. Over the summer, after G2 has finished, the student should ideally finish the first reading of the Quran, as is in keeping with what our head teacher says, to take a full year to start Qaida at one point and within a year to have finished the Quran, and then return in the autumn term for Hifz of selected portions. Now, I just want to stress that G1, G2 and G3 are standalone courses, which means that you can do them without attending the others. No one is obliged to attend all 3 courses, but the offering is there. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about why you are here, the G2 course, and what we expect from you. Classes will be held Monday to Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. for 12 weeks. All classes teach something, so attendance is absolutely necessary, and any absence due to, for example, illness must be explained. Any absence due, for example, having to attend parents' evening or a hospital appointment must be requested. Email is the preferred form of contact, and the address is info@nqc.org.uk. And this address will be repeated in many of the slides, but if you could take a note of it, it would be helpful. And as I've just said, all contacts should be made via email. Now, we do understand that children do get sick and that appointments that clash with class can't be avoided, so we do have a learning support system for students. Classes are recorded, and these can be used to consolidate your learning. Students can go back to the recordings and watch in case they didn't understand something in class, and also they can watch if they were absent and they can catch up. You can find the recordings on the department's website, which is nqc.org.uk. And if you go to the website and click on class recordings, you will be able to access the recordings. The department has a YouTube channel also, and you can watch recordings on that platform as well. Search for NQC UK National Quran Class. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll get notifications whenever recordings are uploaded. Recordings are, alhamdulillah, usually uploaded quite quickly. We have quite an efficient IT department. Another way to access recordings is via the NQC apps. And I'll just demonstrate how to find the right apps, because when you go onto the App Store, there's so many that you'll see. So you want to make sure that you get to the right ones. So we have apps on both iOS and Android platforms. And if you have iOS, go to the App Store. And if you have Android, obviously go to the Play Store. Type Talimul-Quran in the search bar, and you'll find that there are 3 apps available. If you're on iOS, this is what one of them will look like. This is another, and this is a third. When you download them onto your phone, this is what they will look like. Okay, so just to make sure that you get the right apps. If you're on Android, again, there are 3 apps, and this here is one of them. This is another, and this one here is the third one. and you just follow the same process as you do whenever you're downloading any app. Okay, so those are the methods by which you can access recordings of class. In fact, all those methods will lead you to lots of offerings from the department. Okay, so throughout the course, we will be revising some rules that were taught in G1, in the Qaida stage. And we will learn other rules that will add beauty to recitation, and we'll practice applying these rules to Quranic reading. We will use simple Arabic font Quran. Now, all of you will likely have a hard copy of this Quran at home, but if not, you can get hold of one from any of our Jamaat bookshops. And if for any reason you can't get to the bookshops yourself, contact your local publication secretary, who should be able to access and provide you with one. Simple Arabic font Quran is also available online. If you go to the website alislam.org.uk and click on Holy Quran, you will find many options available. Simple Arabic is the one to go for. And that's also very useful to have, but the hard copy is preferred. Okay, we will also use a book known as the Tashilul-Qur'an, the second edition, and the author is the head teacher of this course. The hard copy is best. It has quite a lot more than any of the online or the downloadable versions. Again, it is available from Jamaat bookshops, costs about £4. But if you're unable to get to one of the bookshops, again, contact your local publication secretary, who should be able to assist. You can access the lessons that we use via the apps that I demonstrated earlier. This is really convenient because most of you will have phones which are always with you, so you can always access class material wherever you are. The lessons we use are also available online via the website. Go to nqc.org.uk, click on downloads, then Tashilul-Qur'an G1 lessons, and you will find all of the lessons that we use available for you to both view and to download. There's actually lots and lots of downloadable content available on the website, so it's worth visiting the website. Please do go and have a look at what we offer. Just for your reference, this is what the hard copy looks like, the front and the back cover, so that you know what you're looking for when you're there. Okay, so that's the material. So in terms of course delivery, what will you get from this course and how will we deliver the syllabus? Well, rules will be revised and other rules introduced. Students will be taken through chapters of part 30, starting at An-Nas. And in each class, we will focus on a rule of the day, sometimes more than one rule, but we'll try to stick to one. And each day we'll build up the rules that we've introduced or revised to the students until the students have knowledge of many of the rules that they should be applying in their reading. So it's a step-by-step process. We'll take it slowly. Now, each day, the teacher will call some students to the mic and we will listen to some students live in class. And when they read, we'll correct the reading wherever necessary. Everyone in the class, whether they're on the mic or they're listening, are expected to listen to everything. Remember that this is not a one-to-one class, although we do have a system to ensure that all students do get a turn at reading to the teacher. And we try to be very fair. Not everyone can be called to the mic every day. So it is really important for students to listen to whoever has been called to the mic. The teachers are trained to give feedback to a student such that all those listening can learn and benefit also. Just bear in mind that if one student is making a particular mistake, the chances are other students will also be making the same mistake. So feedback to that student will benefit the rest of the class. Okay, so in terms of one of the objectives of the course, trying to instill a love of the Holy Quran. Reading Quran isn't just about reading. There should be an understanding that there is meaning behind the Arabic. So G2 will try to instill a love of Quran by increasing knowledge. And we will try to do this by having hopefully lots of short presentations on such things as believers' responses, prostration of tilawat, background stories to what's being recited at appropriate times as and when they occur on the course. So those are the three main parts of the syllabus: revision of rules, reading from part 30, and presentations to increase knowledge. Homework. Homework will be set daily, and students will be expected to do this since only practice is going to improve recitations. Simply knowing the rules is not enough. Practice is vital to improving recitation. There will also be weekend homework, and this will be set such that you revise that week's teaching. Now, this weekend homework is just as important because it helps set learning in the students' minds. Okay, so in class, students are learning, and a rule has been introduced or revised, and students have been called to the mic and asked to demonstrate what they've been learning. But because the rules have just been introduced, the reading will reflect this. What we would like is over the weekend, students to practice all of the Quran portions of that week, and we will assign homework so you can write it down on a Friday. And we'd like students to practice all of the Quran portions of that previous week, and if they so wish, to record themselves. On the phone would be easiest, and email these recordings to us. Again, there's the email address, info@nqc.org.uk, and we will play some of these recordings during classes the following week and give feedback. There is another way to submit recordings, and that's if you go to the website nqc.org.uk and you click on Tilawat submissions. You can do it that way also. So recordings are welcome, and we can play them the following week and give some feedback, not only to that particular student, but others can also listen as to how they can improve themselves and common mistakes that will occur. Now, it's really important when you send your emails that in the subject box, you write down that the name of the chapter that the tilawat is, the week. So this week will be week number 1, and we will keep you noted and remind you every week as to which week we're on, and your student's ID. And so in the message, in the recipients, you should be sending it to info@nqc.org.uk. In the subject box, you should be writing down the tilawat of, for example, Al-Falaq, G2, which is this course, week 1, because this is the week that we'll be covering that particular chapter, and the student's ID. And I've just put down a generic one there. Okay. Now, it's extremely important that in the subject box you do write this information, because what happens is, if you don't, the chances of your recording reaching the right people become reduced, and you may get lost in the system. And that would be a shame. If a student has gone to the effort of recording, we would like to receive that recording. So please do try and make sure that you write that information in the subject box. Okay, so etiquettes, which is a fancy way, I suppose, of saying manners. What we expect students, how their behavior should be in the class. Now, we expect students to be punctual. Now, today's Alhamdulillah, some of you were very punctual. You were waiting already before the class started. And this is ideally what everybody should be doing on a daily basis. Try to get into a routine of logging in 5 to 10 minutes early. The teacher will note that you're there and admit you on time. Please make sure that you use the ID that you've been assigned. It will begin with 1 or 2 letters and be followed by 4 numbers. Now, if you want, you can now have a quick glance at the participants list and you'll see that there's many people who are correctly logged in, but many who aren't. People have got phones, iPads, various different IDs. In the early days, that's acceptable. We understand everybody's getting used to the system, but correct ID is extremely important. You can find your ID in the acceptance email that you were sent. If you don't log in with correct ID after the first week, you are likely to be removed from class and only readmitted if you change to the correct ID. Now, I know that that sounds severe, but it is to maintain a safe environment for students and staff. We want to know who's in the class and that they are meant to be there. So for the benefit of yourselves, as well as our staff, our safety and yours, please do make sure that you sign in with your correct ID. Once in, don't mess about with the ID, please, okay? Some of you are going to be very quick and are off the mark very, very quickly and know that you can change it once you're in the class. If you keep changing it, the support teacher will just put you into the waiting room or remove you altogether. You're in, you've come in with an ID, please just leave it alone. Make sure that your video is off. Don't put the video on for any reason. Now again, if you look at your participants list, you'll see next to your ID a microphone and a video icon, and both of them should have red lines across them, and that tells you that you're logged in correctly, that your video is not on, that your audio is not on. The video is completely not needed in this class, and in fact it's a really disruptive feature to teachers when students put it on. Remember, when you put your video on, everyone in the class can see you, the room you're in, what's going on in the background. Just have a little bit of understanding to keep some burden for yourself. Okay. There is also a hands up facility. Again, this is one of those facilities which is a default facility with this setup. And at times teachers will ask you to use it, as I did earlier on today, because it helped me locate a student very, very quickly. But when everybody puts their hands up, it has a very disruptive effect on the teacher's screen. So we do ask you to try very hard not to click on the hands up icon. Okay. So how are you expected to come into class? Okay, so we would like everybody to understand that wuzu is very important. When you offer namaz, when you offer salat, that is worshipping Allah. When you're reading Quran, that's also worshipping Allah, because when you're reading Quran, you're reading the words of Allah, you are listening to Allah. You wouldn't offer salat without wuzu. The same applies to reading Quran. You need to have a clean mouth, and you should brush your teeth before coming to class. Remember, the words that you recite leave your body, the very last point of leaving your body is through your mouth. So having a clean mouth is actually quite important. The Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, was quite particular about keeping his teeth clean. Obviously, once you have a clean mouth, it goes without saying, you don't need to eat anything during the class. So keep your mouth clean. Please don't eat whilst in the class. If you get thirsty, drink some water. That's perfectly fine. Wear clean clothes. When you go to visit your friends, you would wear clean clothes. When you visit family, you would make sure that you're presented nicely. When you're reading Quran, you're visiting Allah. So wearing clean clothes is just as important. Okay, so all of you are going to be at home, maybe in a kitchen or in a dining room, and other people will be around you and they may be busy doing things. There may be some background noise going on. You won't be able to concentrate if there's background noise. Find a quiet place to sit. And this is also very important if you get called to the mic, because if you have background noise, the teacher won't be able to hear you, other students won't be able to hear you, and so no one's going to benefit at all. Having a quiet place is actually quite important. Heads need to be covered. Girls should be wearing a scarf or some sort of dupatta, and boys should be wearing a hat, a topi. Okay, so lastly, if there's anything that you need help with, anything, downloading lessons, accessing recordings, logging in, finding your ID, anything, you have to contact us. Please do contact us. Feedback. We genuinely welcome feedback. It's a main way of how we improve. So please feel free to email us. All feedback is taken as constructive criticism. So if you can think of ideas of improvement, please do send them to us. The address is info@nqc.org.uk. When you do email us, remember to include your student ID in the email. And if you can't find your ID, maybe that's what your query is, then put as much information about who you are so that we can locate you on our list. Your name, your Jamaat, any sort of information that will help us locate you. Okay, so that sort of concludes the opening presentation. But I just wanted to say very quickly that we are a very hardworking, dedicated team, and we would welcome other like-minded people to join us. So if any parents or older siblings or other family members have talents that they can bring, we can use people who would like to join us as teachers, support teachers, anyone who could design posters using those software, presentations, if you can come up with some quizzes, if you can use Excel. If you have those talents and you wish to contribute, we would welcome you onto our team. So please feel free to apply. Training on most things can be provided. The most important thing is a can-do attitude. Distance is no object. Everything is done online. So it doesn't matter where you are in the country. We will have you on our team. If you want, you can apply. That's the address. Okay, so now we've come towards the end of our class. It's almost 5 to 7. So what I will do is I will now hand back to our head teacher for some concluding comments and then our dua.
Okay, Jazakumullah. Thank you so much for a beautiful, compact and comprehensive, detailed introduction of this course. And I'm sure that parents and the students, they were fully enriched with the details of the program. So inshallah ta'ala, your systematic class will start from tomorrow at 6 p.m. Only one quick explanation, or maybe I think that if there is any, so that little addition to that one with regards to the wudu, because our children should know about that one. Wudu is very, very important, as we know that, and every Ahmadi child should be able to do wudu, ablution, in correct manner and in the right order. It is very important. I have seen children in the washing facility where is in the mosque, that sometimes they do not wash properly. They're starting from the right hand up to elbow, right and left, and similarly proper masa, passing hand on their socks like that, and the correct manner of using right hand, and when there is a cleaning of nose, the left hand. So it is very important to have a good practice and good in order of ablution. Ablution is part and parcel, is compulsory for the prayer. Okay, even if if you are reading any two rakat prayer, any prayer, whether they say from the 5 daily prayers or any nawafil, this is a compulsory. Okay, but in tilawat it is not a compulsory, it is highly recommended. Okay, in namaz we cannot answer or we cannot reply if someone tries to speak to us and he or she doesn't know that we are reading the namaz. We are not allowed. If we speak back or if we reply, our namaz or our salat will be at that time null and void, will be broken, meaning finished. But in tilawat, we can say wa alaikum salam, or we can speak back, we can talk back, and we can continue after that one. So it is highly recommended for tilawat that we should have ablution, because it adds to the concentration, and it's a sense of piety, sense of cleanliness is aroused in ourselves, and it is very, very good. And as I mentioned that brushing the teeth is very, very important, because I know that on my personal, I all the time I advocate this principle, and at that point I practice myself that if you clean thoroughly your mouth and your teeth, definitely inshallah ta'ala that will accelerate your mental power, your brain power, and also the correct pronunciation of the Holy Quran. It will add, your pronunciation will be far better if these teeth are cleaning, because the word tartil basically in the root meaning in all in the vocabulary, in the lexigraphers, they mention the teeth. You see that when it is said that ratlun thagrun, that is the root letter, it means that the bright, clean, and well ordered teeth. So whenever in the root meaning any particular things are mentioned, that is very, very important. And the word tartil, which is the very famous, very well known, and this is from the Quran. And when in order to describe in going into detail that word, the Arab always specifically mention about the clean teeth. So it gives us this very clear indication that the clean teeth, the mouth is very, very important. And especially our beloved master, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that your mouth, he said to his companions, that your mouth is an exit points of reading the Holy Quran. As we can write on the paper should be clean, and we write with the right hand, with the clean hands, especially writing of the Holy Quran. So reading of the Holy Quran or reciting of the Holy Quran with clean teeth and clean mouth is important, because the very first printing of the Holy Quran was not on the paper, but through on the air printing, the vocal printing was there, and that is important. And main thing is that when we go to namaz, we salat, we have ablution, our teeth should be clean, because we are reciting in the presence of Almighty Allah, not in the class is the secondary, but ultimate object is to present our recitation in best possible manner to our creator, to Almighty Allah. So I'm thankful to all parents, to students, and those families, because these are not only the students and the parents which have signed for this course, but for the whole family, because I know that though they have not got enrolled to the program, but they would be listening to that one, because the voice of the computer, like that. And also I'm very, very thankful to my team, headed by very able respected lady, G2 in charge. She has given a wonderful dedication to this course, and Alhamdulillah, this is the 6th course. And please pray for all of us that we carry out our responsibility in the best possible manner, and may Allah enable you all to give your best so that we be able to complete or conclude this course in a very nice manner. Jazakumullah. Now I would request you all to please join me in the silent prayer, okay? And then that will be the conclusion of this opening session. So please join me in silent prayer. Ameen, Allahumma Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mic back to G2 in charge.
Jazakumullah to our head teacher. Okay, so that concludes our meeting for today. Inshallah, we will see you all tomorrow at 6 p.m. start. Try to be early. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.